Welcome back to another episode. We are here, myself, Sig, and we have the fabulous, the one and only, the beardless, the hairless, the naked mole rat, Rahgel.
Fucking naked mole rat. What is? All right, whatever you got. Whatever. Let's go. You fucking hairy bastard. I hear your shit.
Anyways, how you doing?
Whatever. I'm good. Great, grand, wonderful. I guess.
You don't have to be a jerk about it. I mean, you're not doing good. You're not doing very well.
I'm great.
I don't believe you. You don't sound great. You sound hostile and pissed.
We're stuck talking with you all night. That's what it is.
And this time it's a unique episode because as this podcast is being recorded, we are trying something new and unique, and we're live over on Two Guys One Gamepad platform. So hopefully this turns out to be something. If not, no harm, no foul type thing. But tonight we are going to be talking about none other than Money in the Bank. WWE Money in the Bank premiere live event that took place July 1st. And I'm gonna start off saying I was very surprised with how good this PLE was. I was pleasantly surprised as I did not have high hopes for this at all, other than like 2 or 3 matches, I think we said. So very surprised with a lot of the outcomes. But more important than that, we made a bet and you owe me.
What was it? I forgot already. What was the bet?
About Roman Reigns and Sikoa versus the Usos, and how you said they would win. And I said the Usos will win. There's no reason why they would destroy that momentum. But we'll get into that here at the end of this episode, because that'll be the last subject we talk about.
I don't think I said that. I think you're making shit up.
Oh, hold on. I'll find it. I got scratched for like an hour and a half of it.
Go ahead. We'll wait. We've got nothing but time. Prove it.
I will. All right, so let's start off with the very first match of the night at Money in the Bank, which again took place July 1st, 2023, over in London, England. There you go. There's a backstory. Our first matchup was the men's Money in the Bank, which involved Damian Priest versus Logan Paul versus Shinsuke Nakamura versus Ricochet, Santos Escobar, Butch, and LA Knight. Damian Priest won Money in the Bank. And we both were right. I went with Knight. You went with Damian Priest. And we knew it had to be one of those two. And from the press conference that took place after Money in the Bank, Triple H even addressed that a lot of the fans seemed to be very upset that Knight did not win. And he said, just wait. It's a long haul. He's just now building up. We got something planned, whereas Damian Priest has been building up to a certain moment. So kind of makes sense to have Damian Priest win. But this was not a bad match, other than a terrible botch Spanish fly by Ricochet to Logan Paul.
The botch, I mean, you put that more on Logan Paul than Ricochet. Ricochet had it saved. Yeah. Logan Paul, he admitted too, he had no idea what he was doing. He put it on his podcast too, saying that, he was out of his element because he had no idea what to do. They're like, I was tangled up in the ropes. I'm like, how is this guy gonna pull this off? And Ricochet does what Ricochet does and made the move happen. Essentially pulled Logan Paul with him, throwing him head and shoulder first into the tables, but botched or not, it still looked decent.
Yeah.
Paul took the bump a little bit harder than he probably should have, but
a little bit. I mean, laying square on top of his head and shoulder.
His head's fucking big enough, anyways. He's fine. He said himself, he's fine.
Well, then you had Logan Paul, frog splash Priest off the ring apron onto a ladder, and he literally just he bounced off of
it. You could. He was hitting his spots, but you could definitely see that he was not well prepared for it.
No.
In the manner of he had a lot to learn in some of those high spots.
In all of his matches, yes.
I mean, the one, I guess the one high spot he had at the Rumble, he hit, but that one and only. Quit playing dice over there.
That was my candy. Leave me alone.
Um,
Prick.
But I will not say was not his worst match. I haven't, out of all of his matches, I don't think he's really had a shit the bed match yet.
He has not had a bad match. He's had really good matches so far, and I mean, WrestleMania, him hanging so long with Seth Rollins definitely proved that he has what it takes to be inside WWE, let alone the professional wrestling. And while this wasn't, I would say this probably wasn't his best match. Like in 7 guys competing at a time, he's not gonna get a lot of limelight. But it is good that they're building out the Ricochet and Logan Paul moment. I mean, granted, they've even, like, I've read recent reports that Spanish fly, if landed properly, was supposed to lead into like more fight moments between Ricochet and Logan Paul, but because of how Logan landed, he was tended to by personnel right away, and he wasn't really involved so much after that. That's why Logan attacked Ricochet behind to kind of build up for the feud for SummerSlam. It's coming. And those two could have a hell of a match, so that would be nice.
They could. It's just Logan's going to have a lot to keep up with because Ricochet is going to have to carry him through that style of match if that's what they're going to do. Because I went back, I remember in Lucha Underground when
he faced Ray.
Ricochet, which was Prince Puma at the time against Rey Mysterio.
I just saw that.
That match was insane. I remember watching when they had it. It was insane. And just watching him as Prince Puma in Lucha Underground, the matches that he had with a lot of the other luchadors that are on that card or in that business at the time was awesome. I mean, they had the Phoenix and a lot of those guys that are down there were doing stuff that were great. And he can still do it. It's just there's nobody really around to keep up with him in that manner.
Not anymore. They release all the people that could.
And I will not. And that's who I wish Ray would have handed it off to, not Santos Escobar.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen Ricochet get that endorsement.
But the only way he could have done it properly would have been if he had picked up the Prince Puma gimmick with WWE. It would not work properly if he came over as just Ricochet.
It could. I mean, what has Santos Escobar done? I mean, he just has the stamp of approval. He hasn't proven anything that I know of. I don't know anything of him before WWE.
Same.
At all.
He's a young guy
Ricochet.
too.
Yeah. And
in the terms of, like, I don't think he had much time on the indies compared to, like, Ricochet spent a lot of time on the indies.
I think going along with Santos Escobar, it's not just him, but I think as a whole, the LWO gimmick is it could go away and nobody would even notice right now. They don't do anything with it as far as attire. He came out in complete Aztec
headdress,
costume, headdress, everything like that, and he had LWO, I think, on his tights.
Yep.
They come out to the music, but other than that, like, LWO is really not even a thing. Granted, LWO wasn't a huge thing back then, but it was more focused on then. Well, maybe because it was more back then too of the NWO, LWO.
Well, that, and you're also talking about, like, Eddie Guerrero started it with, like, literally searching out all the Latin American wrestlers, and it was more of a union type thing.
Yeah.
Not an actual faction of, we're not represented properly, come join LWO, we'll force WWE, WCW, we'll force their hand into recognizing us and giving us more time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're right, it's a gimmick that is not going over so well right now. Now, granted, you hear that music hit, and yeah, I would say it's more of a nostalgic comeback because you're like, oh my god, that's Eddie Guerrero, and that's Ray, even like Ray's music, perfect. And then you're like, oh yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
And I've tried to remember. I don't remember really seeing anything of Santos in the match, but I know there was. But between him and Butch, I mean, there wasn't really. I wasn't impressed by Butch. Or Santos.
As you know, but other people don't. That's other than 152, 151, whatever people that tuned in. I went live and watched Money in the Bank
Mhm.
on Saturday, and fucking shit ton of people showed up, like more than I've ever personally organically had show up. I've been rated. I've had 100 people show up. Cool, but I never organically drew that many. But that was one of the matches where it was, as like you and I've talked about, everyone knew it was going to be Knight or Priest. Nobody wanted Logan Paul. That was very clear, even in our chat technically. But there were so many times where people like, bro, where's Butch? Where's Santos? What happened to Shinsuke? Because those three people were not heavily focused on even the slightest. Shinsuke had a few moments. Like I definitely remember seeing Shinsuke a lot more than I do Butch or Santos.
Yeah.
And like it was still a good match. And they definitely gave you that feeling that okay, LA Knight's gonna get it. He's gonna capture it. And then of course Priest delivered and captured it, and that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. Perfectly okay with Priest. We discussed it before that of the 7 people, those 2 have earned it much more than anyone else in that division or in that group.
Mm-hmm. And it's already setting up, more and more.
Yeah.
Next, the following day or 2 days later, on Monday night.
Yeah.
Because the whole Finn Balor and Rollins match.
Yep.
And then Priest coming out.
We can talk about that one real quick. Because that's not until late. Like I was just gonna go down the match card, but we're not. That match is literally near the end, right before the Usos. But it ties in with Men's Money in the Bank because we had Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor for World Heavyweight Champion, and Priest did come out with the briefcase and distracted Rollins, ended up taking a seat, and then Finn had it won. He was getting ready to go up on top, or he was on the top rope, and he was getting ready to land coup de grace, and Priest stood up. That's all he did was stood up. Maybe I think he stood up and took a step. Actually, he took us at least.
He was in front of the announce table with the briefcase in hand.
Yeah, and then that distracted Finn enough for for Seth to go in and win it. So I thought that was a great match.
It was.
The amount of stomping, by the way, just like I know. Last week we discussed coup de grace is like stupid. It's fucking hate the move. We don't like it. Whatever. But Saturday night definitely like just nailed that home. I was like, all he's doing is stomping. I get he's trying to injure the ribs, but for the love of God, stop.
No, and I get it.
Watching my 3-year-old push the same fucking button over and over and over. Because he's wildly entertained right now.
Yes, a good match. Not match of the night.
No, not even close.
Up there, but Bálor definitely still has it. Rollins obviously does as well. I want more from Finn, and I want more of an edge than a crybaby, but I understand why he is in that crybaby persona right now because of what happened
7 years ago.
7 years ago. That's his thing.
Yeah, and you gave me shit last week, but they pushed it so hard, even on the premiere live event of 7 years ago. So I was like, I was so tempted to text you, be like, "Are you listening? Did you get it 7
years ago?" And I get it, but man, he's
a broken record.
But that's what it's supposed to be, and it's working. That's the story.
But that's the thing, like, it's not. I guess I'm not the mark for it, but it's one of those things of like, you're probably the mark, but I mean, like, it's one of those things of when it gets overutilized or overdone so much, like Dominic playing the bitch card and always having Rhea do his dirty work, or him just unable to successfully do anything by himself, like that gets played out in every feud, every year, almost every month. Like it's just it's so fucking annoying to watch it and just rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. You're like, okay, well, who's gonna do it this month? What wrestler is going to be it this month? Now, granted, Dominic has had it for the last like 6 months, but it's the same thing, just rinse and repeat, and it becomes to the point of it's no longer enjoyable to watch. Where whether I'm watching on Hulu, I'm watching it live, or I'm watching it recorded, I will scrub through that whole thing. If it's live, I'll walk away
Mhm.
and I'll just like come
It's
in
easy to
every
zone
couple
out.
minutes, just like I'm done with you.
Yeah.
Like it's not
It's easy to
enjoyable
zone out.
content for me.
Not all of it. There are some spots in it that's not bad, but yeah, it's easy to zone out. Like there's times I'll be watching like and I'll get on my phone and I'll realize that I haven't been watching for an hour because there's nothing that I like, want to see.
Yep.
It's just random shit that comes on, and that's gonna happen when it's a 3-hour show. You know, they have a 3-hour show for a reason,
It
and
happens that way. I'm watching Hulu. It's only an hour and a half.
but with Seth Rollins, with Finn Balor, the story they told in that one is good. Hopefully, it's done with, over with, because now Finn and Priest
Doesn't sound
are
like it.
back and forth. But
He's going to be the center point of Finn and Priest. Because Finn wants his title back from Rollins.
Yeah.
Or he wants his title from Rollins. And Priest is, of course, Money in the Bank, so he's either going to keep fucking with Finn and create that divide even more, or Finn and Priest are going to feud with Money in the Bank on the line, or even like number one contenders match type thing, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to happen, and it's all going to be centered around the World Heavyweight Championship. That's it. So it's whether it's who cashes in, who actually keeps the Money in the Bank. I don't think they're going to take it off Priest. That would be a very stupid maneuver to strip Priest of it by letting Finn win, and Finn winning it, kind of like Miz did against Otis a couple years ago, or last year, two years ago. So it's just, that's a feud that we're going to see, and like everybody was heavily talking about in the live stream that day was Finn is out, Priest is the leader. It's just a matter of how long this feud's going to go and when it will finish.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And, you know, obviously we'll see, but there was something interesting too on Monday that Carmelo Hayes cut a promo and pretty much has called out Priest and said,
Again,
it's all open.
He called out Finn the week before.
So if they for some odd reason, if they bring the NXT title and make it a little more relevant, say Priest cashes in to go takes Carmelo's title. Gonna be the first time it's ever happened, but
Charlotte did it against Rhea.
She did. Okay, well, didn't know that one. But seeing that one happen of Priest taking the NXT title and starting from that point, working his way up to take every other title or work in that fashion, I think would be a cool storyline for Priest to do all of that and work it that way, and then feud with Hayes as well. Granted, it's not main roster, but Carmelo is main roster at the same time because he's been.
He's not, but he made his main roster debut last week.
Yeah, so therefore, I mean, he's been on there.
He's getting ready.
I mean, he's been on the damn show for a month straight almost.
Yeah, but he hasn't. Last week was his last official debut where he actually did something.
Yeah. So I mean, unless they're trying to bring more light to NXT,
which they are, because I've already read.
Why not?
Yeah, because I've already read that, or read several articles where it's like they talked about the draft. Like, the draft is still in effect. Raw and SmackDown are separate. They're not supposed to be going to. However, NXT is not a brand. Therefore, they're trying to bring more limelight to NXT. And I think this is Nick Khan's doing to see if NXT can pull the same numbers as Raw and SmackDown, thus make it a brand versus a developmental brand.
Which, I mean, either way. But I do think that Rollins has no reason to lose the title anytime soon.
Nope.
Reigns is going to maintain his for probably a while longer.
WrestleMania 40.
And then the NXT title is one that I think they can change hands quite a few times, or at least a couple times, to keep the title changes happening and a little more relevant to that show.
Well, so we're gonna because that meant I would say this probably that brings into perspective the IC title, which um, we've talked about. He is so that's Gunther versus Riddle at Saturday. It was not a great match. Drew came back. I was half right. I said Drew or Randy would come back. Drew made more sense, but it being England, he came back. Not the person I thought he would go after. I was hoping like Rollins, but Rollins is tied up with the Judgment Day shit, so I guess it makes sense. However, um, he's number 3 longest reigning IC champion. However, um, Michael Cole said he was number 2, and he was actually like 10 or 12 days behind the actual number 2 longest reigning. I just had this pulled up too because I
You talking about Gunther or McIntyre?
Gunther.
Okay.
I'm gonna pull this back up because I had it
So-
live.
So with Gunther being the number, I thought we had him at number 4.
He was at
Last time
number
we talked.
4 in the last episode.
Okay.
So yeah,
It's
because Michael Cole said on Saturday he is the 3rd longest reigning champion. The only people above him are Macho Man, Randy Savage, and Honky Tonk. But that's not true. They forgot Pedro Morales. Pedro's technically number 2. It goes Honky Tonk Man with 453 days, Pedro with 424 days, and then Honky Tonk at 413. And then he is now at, I think he was at 386 on Saturday on Money in the Bank. So now he's at plus 5 days, so 391. Yeah, 391. But that means he could lose the championship here at SummerSlam and be, I think we say he could be at the longest reigning at that point because that would put him at around 424, right around if I remember correctly. No, we can't.
Yeah, I think you're right, but I hope to God he does not. I don't want him to be.
He's already slated to dethrone Savage and Honky Tonk.
I mean, that's going to happen. I mean, well, then that puts him at number 1 if he does.
But I don't. My big thing was like I was telling everybody on Saturday, I don't understand why they're ignoring Pedro. Because Pedro is at 424. He has Randy Savage beat by 11 days, and they literally Michael Cole said Gunther was number 3, with only Honky Tonk and Savage being ahead of him. Probably didn't say it possible, but
now is Pedro on the actual WWE website?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like
I didn't know if he was just on.
No, because they even address was it Monday? Monday, I think they addressed Pedro, and somebody was like, "Oh yeah, Pedro." It was for a different championship. They're like, "Oh yeah, Pedro Morales has held this one." I was like, "Hold on, so y'all can fucking remember for that title, but not the IC." Interesting. So I had to see if maybe it was some like Hulk Hogan shit where he said something or did something that kind of stripped him of it.
Was he ever the? Well, I mean, if he's on the website, then I mean, it must be legit. But he was never, WWF. And when he had, oh no, he was. Never mind, Triple Crown there, 3. So yeah, okay. So I was trying to see his. When did they say what years he had it?
Pedro, November 23rd, 1981 to January 22nd, 1983.
All right, so yeah, that was his run in because he had 80 to 83 and the 85 to 87 in WWF at the time. So I mean, yeah, I mean, if he's at, like I said, if he's on the website, then it's legit. I don't understand why they are, if that's the case.
That one just kind of it annoyed me more personally because we spent so long trying to figure out who the top 5 were, and we're like, when Cole said, "When you fucking read," we're like, what? What's going on?
Who
And
knows? I mean,
people in chat even said, no, he's number 3, blah. I was like, no, you're fucking wrong. I had to like literally pull my screen over and show him like, look, oh. So that was a good chat.
yeah, I mean, he's also the first Triple Crown winner.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know, I'm reading about it right now, but
But regardless, back to the IC championship with
yes.
Gunther and Riddle. Like, we knew Riddle was going to lose, and they, quote, protected Riddle by having that injury angle, so where Riddle can still look strong and just like misfortune type thing. But now we're going to see on this coming Monday, so the 10th of July, we will see Riddle and Drew versus Imperium. I don't know which two I would defend. I would assume the Goons, but that was not a great match. Honestly, I would put that up to like the worst match of the night. I liked all the other matches more than that one.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see it as the worst. I'm over Riddle as a wrestler at this point. I've never been a huge fan of his. He just seems like a leech at this point. Like he
definitely use
sticks
those
himself
specific words because that's what he was said to be as well on the when he was in his UFC days.
I mean, that's what he is. He attached himself to Orton, rode that train until it essentially derailed and he got hurt. Now he's sticking himself to McIntyre, who has a lot of limelight on him right now. And
but
it's just like
this could be the pivotal point where we see McIntyre turn heel. And he could take it out on Riddle. That's the big thing, is everybody's really wanting McIntyre to go heel. Because he was better as a heel than a babyface.
He was, but I don't know if there's
way too many fucking heels in WWE right now. I can name more heels than I can baby faces. So many more. Then you have the very few like Seth Rollins who are neither heel nor babyface. They can switch on a dime, which is great because they need tons of those.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that match just wasn't good, and I don't know. The only exciting thing about that was to see Drew McIntyre come back. It's like, all right, awesome,
yeah,
cool.
He also did an interview on the Bump today. And he was not too impressed or questioned a lot of why there's so many factions now. He said when he was away watching the product, it was like he's very shocked of why there's so many factions nowadays, and why they're doing more of the gang affiliated wrestling. Which is true. There are a lot of factions, but that's a big thing that Triple H wanted to run with.
Well, and it works in the sense of giving more limelight to more people versus all this individuality, and say, okay, these 8 people are going to go on week after week after week, but their roster is 60 people deep. And you're like, well, where are we going to, okay, 30 people deep. What are we going to do with the other 22? Like, what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's I mean, I like factions. I like having them.
I like them when they are used properly and they're not just there, like the LWO, where it's just there.
Yeah, they are just there.
None of them have a title. There's no pushes going along. And granted, yes, they are all fairly young wrestlers, with the exception of Vega, who has been with WWE for some time now. Granted, this is like her second or third time back.
Mm-hmm.
The 3 guys, Santos and the other 2, like they're there, and they're not really doing a whole lot. They're not chasing a title. They're not going after tag champs. Like, they're just there. They're not even feuding with another like faction, which that's the whole big thing with factions, is you feud with other factions. You don't really feud one-on-one anymore. You take your group of 4, you go fight another group of 4 or group of 3.
Yeah.
Like it's.
But I mean, Zelina in the Money in the Bank match
she didn't do much now that
not.
Yeah. that you say her name, I was
Zelina.
like, I don't remember seeing her too often, actually.
Zelina?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought she did quite a lot. I mean, she had her chunkle moment
Yeah, that. Oh, yeah.
at the top of the ladder,
Yeah.
and she had some decent points, high spots too.
She had a couple moments, but like overall, the entire thing, because we were jumping around. There goes my whole fucking planet going in order. The women's Money in the Bank was Io Sky, Becky Lynch, Zelina Vega, Bayley, Trish Stratus, and Zoey Stark for women's Money in the Bank. Io won, which again, that's technically out of left field for us. I think we said Vega and maybe Io, but we kind of stood off of Io because they have a storyline. Bayley and her have a storyline developing. Becky, Trish, and Zoe have a storyline developing. So Zelina was like the only one, odd man out. But Zelina did have a couple moments. Now that I'm like, I remember the chocolate because I laughed my fucking ass off. But they also had, maybe it's just me, I felt like they had better high moments and better spots than the men's Money in the Bank. Or maybe it's just the fact that it was women doing it, and we've always seen men.
And they very well could have. They very well could have had more. It seemed like more, or maybe they just hit bigger ones, and there were fewer.
Vega, who hit Code Red on Zoey Stark on a ladder bridge.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that definitely happened. Zoey Stark was basically out of the match from there on out, because that was near the end.
Yeah,
and that was after the chocolate attack too.
Yeah, they were definitely they did seem to flow a little bit better than the men's. There were some issues with ladder setup, but that's gonna happen.
Those ladders did not fucking break in either one of those matches.
No, they did not.
Which that was that's so unusual, because typically, yeah, one ladder may not break, that's fine. Not a single fucking one broke at all, and there were several ladder bridges made. There were several corner bridge, like none of them fucking broke. And then I'm looking at a highlight reel, and none of them even took a bend. It was just a fucking smack off of it, like trampoline. So we hit the back of her head on a step.
Everybody looked decent in it. Trish was just kind of walking around, watching everything. It seemed like Io looked good. I'm curious to see. Pick. I'm assuming. I think we both are assuming that she goes after Asuka. And leaves Rhea because
she had her moment on.
I don't know.
Granted, Friday Night SmackDown hasn't even aired at the point of this recording, but she had a moment on Raw, kind of a warning Rhea. I had the briefcase, and kind of just non-threatening walked away, like she doesn't care, and pissed off Rhea. So I think she could go either way, but my understanding is Asuka is set for a long run. So she will have a triple threat match at SummerSlam against Becky and Charlotte.
Rhea's supposed to have a long run as well.
Yeah. Well, we also said last week that the speculation was women's is going to be a failed cash-in.
That's true, we did, yeah.
Men's is not guaranteed, but men's will be a successful cash-in. Women's will be a failed. And the women, like, on the live videos, a lot of people were pissed off that Becky didn't win because they spent so much time marketing that Becky had never been in the Money Bank. Becky has never won a Money in the Bank. Becky's never held a brief. Like, they spent so much time focusing on that, and even with Becky's interviews, they mentioned it, and for her not to even grab the briefcase.
Didn't she also hold it? And on Raw?
Yep. Last week she pulled it down.
Which in the past, anyone that's ever touched it before has typically won it.
Yep. That's why it's a forbidden rule, supposedly.
Yeah, that's why I like it too. The fact that that's where everybody was thinking, and it came in a left field with Io, I think. I was all with Zelina and Zoey Stark. That's those Those were my two.
I think that was both of our two, but we also talked about EO, like the three youngest people there should win it. And it should be one of those three. It should not be Bayley, should not be Trish, it should not be Becky, because they've all have cemented their legacy.
Mm-hmm.
The other three need, even if they were to lose it, it puts you in the main picture. It puts you
Mm-hmm.
on notice. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what EO does. And
I think EO cashes in. Doesn't matter who. She's going to cash in, and Bayley's going to cost her the championship match. And it's going to build that feud of division within Damage Control.
he's gonna cash in on going there when he's knocked out and take it from him.
Fucking let her. She'd still be a better IC champion than him.
Exactly.
Fucking anyone but him.
Way better.
Man. All right. Let's go back to the second match of the night, which this one, honestly, to me, had a massive, like, oh shit moment. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez versus Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler for the Women's Tag Team Championship. Match was not impressive too much.
No, not at all. Nothing about it was impressive.
But the fact that Shayna attacked Ronda out of like just complete fucking blue, I say that one was most impressive, like the hot spot for me, because no one predicted it. There was nothing anywhere that this would even happen. All the rumors and speculations and articles all said the same thing, that these two are going to have a dominant run as a women's tag team. And then after it happened, and after Monday night, it was released that by Ronda actually saying she has a definitive done date where she's done with the WWE. She's not wrestling after this. They haven't released when it is, but they know it's well before WrestleMania, because they originally were going to book Shayna versus Ronda for a retirement match or whatever, and Creative came out and said, no, she won't even be here by then. We need to get done quick. So it's set supposedly for SummerSlam.
There's also speculation she has UFC contracts coming up because Amanda Nunes retired.
Yep.
So now the dominant one, she can come back and be something or not. I don't know.
I don't think she goes back
UFC
to UFC
rumors
after
are
having the baby.
Who knows? But I mean, she's gonna have something. Yeah, Shayna attacking Ronda from behind, essentially choking her out, like that, and then walking off, leaving her. And then
I wish we could watch my live, because you could see my reaction of literally just watching them, like talking with chat and everything. Like, yeah. Oh shit! Fuck, are you serious? Man, everyone said the same things. Oh my god! I was like, I didn't see that coming at all.
And that's
narrating
one of the
everything.
shit moments. And then
One
fast forward to Monday
pleasantly.
night, Shayna cuts a hell of a promo
For once.
on Ronda and sounded a lot better than she has in the past.
She sounded good. She sounded well put together for once.
Definitely called out some things that a lot of people have said. You know, everybody's tired of hearing you talking on mic.
Everyone's sick of having you here. You walked through the back door versus me training my ass off for years. You got handed the championship. I still haven't even competed. Yeah.
Yep. She pointed it all out, laid it out, threw it in her face.
Beat her down.
She got choked for a little bit and then ended up coming back and leaving her laying there for Ronda yelling her name as she's walking off. That hopefully turns out to be a decent rivalry.
But it may be a short-lived rivalry, but
it very well could be.
Like, I don't think Ronda won't make it to Royal Rumble. I think she'll be gone before December. I think her finish date for sure when she walks away is before, so maybe SummerSlam, she's for sure going to be there. But this was a feud a lot of people have been wanting for years since Ronda came in. You need to have these two UFC girls go at it and just beat the ever-loving shit out of each other. Like, Liv Morgan and Raquel were like I said on Saturday, I was very happy that we were wrong on this one. Very happy. So we both agreed, and Ronda and Shayna would win because that's just kind of happen. We would love for Liv to win, but not likely. And then for Liv to win, be like, yay.
Yeah.
We were wrong. I'm not happy about that, but I was, again, very boring match, but that pop of Shayna turning on Ronda was one that was like, oh shit, this was good. This
Yeah.
needed to happen because that was not a good match otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
But then, what we have one, we had two more matches, and then the John Cena thing. So your boy Damian Priest, or not Damian Priest, sorry, other douche. Your boy Dominic Mysterio and Cody Rhodes. Don't you put that finger up? You put it down, sir. That's inappropriate. How dare you do that? You're alive.
Cody and Dominic's match was better than I expected. Dominic played the heel to a T, to where he played the coward like he always has been. Like, he's played it out very well in the past few months. You know, I'm gonna run up when your back is turned. I'm gonna slap shitty and run away. The biggest thing I watched in it was Rhea.
Yeah,
I watched Rhea's reaction more than anything because I wanted to see where she's at, and even she was, when Dominic lost, surprise, surprise, she kind of was like, oh shit, because didn't somebody else come out? I can't remember the damn match, the ending of it. I thought there was.
No.
What was it?
I mean, Brody nailed Disaster Kick, then the Cody Cutter, and then Crossroads and walked out.
Mm-hmm.
Rhea was the only one out there, though, and she kept trying to interfere, but she was kept at bay because Rhodes didn't really play into it too much. And there was a few times where, like, she got up and Rhodes was, like, just talking with her, and then Rhodes turned around, there's Dominic, ran at him, he stepped away, and he stopped. I mean, she didn't have as much influence in the match as we suspected. It wasn't a bad match, but again, this was one of those, like, I really only watched it, other than being live, I really only watched it because Cody's in it. He's entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
But overall, like, it was a good match. Mysterio, or Dominic, can't even call him Mysterio, I don't like him. Dominic countered, or Cody Rhodes countered the Three Amigos suplex, which is not hard. He just went over the shoulders and he did all this stuff. So it was a good match. That leads to Monday night, though, where Rollins opens up, probably doing a open challenge. Cody comes out before he came and finished talking. Lesnar comes out, and Cody put the quote "SmackDown" on Lesnar, and I was right. That's right. Three matches.
I would not say he put the SmackDown on Lesnar.
That is what Corey Graves even said.
Corey Graves is an idiot.
I'm not going to argue with you on that one. I don't like Corey Graves.
So Cody runs out and tries to attack Brock. Brock pretty much carries him like a baby back and throws him back in the ring. They go back and forth. Cody hits the Cody Cutter, and that's it.
Yeah, he smacked on him. That's fine.
That's no, not at all. No. I mean, in reality, there's no reason for this to be a fucking trilogy match. It needs to be over with. There's no point. Even Cody's like, motherfucker, go away. I'm tired of you.
SummerSlam will be the last time we see those two go at it. But what's interesting is that is said to have a stipulation match that we have not seen in a long time. So that doesn't really play into effect like what type of stipulation. The only ones people have rumored is like a Buried Alive, a casket match, or an Inferno match. You know, three very popular ones with Kane and Undertaker, which makes no sense to have these two do it because it there's nothing to tie those type of matches to this feud. Another one that I was reading in a whole different Reddit article really was, since Cody Rhodes was a big component of the dog collar matches in AEW, they had not had a dog collar match in WWE in at least a decade. I can't think of the last one they actually had one other than JBL and maybe Eddie Guerrero.
I think that was the last one.
I think that was Eddie. He had a
It
wrist
could have been.
match or Texas strap match with Cena.
Those are dumb. I hate those.
I don't know.
I'm not a fan of the dog collar match either. Um, Buried Alive, I don't think would work. Obviously, it's not going to be a first blood because Lesnar believes to be tripped somewhere because his head's so thin.
Yeah.
So that won't work.
Yeah. I forgot about because I think he was even bleeding after the Cody cutter.
I very well could have.
I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that.
I don't know if. I mean, a Buried Alive match between those two would be. It's gonna have to be something like that of Cody or Last Man Standing. It's gonna have to be Cody proving that he can keep Brock Lesnar down in some fashion.
We've seen Last Man Standing recently though.
I'm sure. I can't think. I'm just thinking of like ones where you have to prove that he can keep Lesnar down. I hope it's not a Iron Man.
So the only dog collar match that I can find for WWE was Vader versus British Bulldog on Raw, November 3rd, 97. So
back when they had weird matches that were actually good.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're off the wall style matches on Raw.
Yeah, there hasn't been a WWE.
Oh, what could they?
Time. Impact has them all the time. It looks like AEW's had them the most.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk more about that on this SummerSlam edition, but yeah, I could not think of like a proper backstage match, which hardly ever happens. Because
I wish they would do more of that.
Oh yeah, that should bring those back.
There hasn't been anything. I wouldn't say anything. A whole lot of.
I was like Logan, just
backstage stuff.
Backstage.
I know, and then they had a big thing with Judgment Day was attacking Ray when that was going on as well. But like, I guess I'm looking more like Attitude Era when they were blowing up vehicles, they were running stuff over, they were doing all kinds of shit back then. Normally it was like Stone Cold doing something or DX doing something for majority of it. NWO had some stuff too, and they were doing that, and then the whole invasion of everything else. But seeing the aspect of everything behind the curtain and stuff going on, fights and stuff like that, I enjoyed a lot more.
Yeah.
But again, it's not going to happen.
It brings a different element to it. I don't think it will happen. Hardly ever, because one, those are more like heavily scripted than anything else, and then two, it brings nothing to your live audience. It benefits them zero. Versus your home, like it's meant for at home people. It's not meant for live audience where you're watching a Jumbotron or a Titantron. You're like, I'm 1,000 yards away from this. I can barely see it.
Mm-hmm. No, and I get it. It makes sense to know it does nothing for everybody to spend all the money to be there to see it. You know, if it's the ones that are watching, I get it, but I want to see it because I'm going to be sitting at home watching it. I don't give a shit if people are there.
Your feelings
I'm watching it on TV. So
I'm watching 24 hours later on TV. Do it.
Until a pay-per-view comes to Des Moines to do it, it's not going to affect me at all.
Sounds like Kansas City is putting in bids for several pay-per-views or Premier Live events. So
you can bid all they want. They'll end up getting like Backlash or Outbreak. Yeah, Outbreak, which someone it's not even going to happen.
I don't even know what event you were even going for with Outbreak.
I don't know either.
So I'm going through all the lists in my head, like there's nothing. I mean, like
Over the Edge.
Nope.
No idea.
Over the Edge.
I don't know.
Outbreak.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it was an O. That's what it was.
I don't know. I mean,
Payback is what was in my head. I don't know why I came up with Outbreak. It was Payback.
Yeah, they're not.
But yeah. Anyway, moving on to the next one.
All right. Well, we'll find the next one. John Cena petitioning for WrestleMania to come to London. And the fact that, like, I read a lot of articles about this and why WrestleMania will likely never come to London and why John Cena did this spot. Sorry, why WWE did this spot is because London pulls in so many tourists a month that they don't need to put a bid in to WWE to put WrestleMania there. It doesn't truly benefit them exponentially to the point where they should have to pay for it to get 2x return. Whereas, like, doing it in SoFi Stadium, they don't get thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of tourists a day or a week or month. They get a few hundred. London gets thousands of tourists a week. So they don't need WrestleMania there. So having John Cena go out there and rile the crowd to basically petition and saying, hey, come on, London. Come on, England. Let us come here. Put your bid in. Your crowd wants it. Your people want it. It's kind of now putting the ball back in their court, saying, well, now your people want it. So that's the intention of it. But Grayson Waller coming out, like, fuck that guy. I do not like Grayson Waller. And I'm sure they're going to have a feud now, too. Just sure they're going to have it.
Why? What does it do for John Cena? What does it do for Grayson Waller, who I've never seen wrestle? I've just seen him talk.
NXT's the only time I've seen Grayson
I've
Waller.
never seen the guy do anything.
He's a decent wrestler, but he's just...
I'm not saying he's not. He's not, but they give everybody a talk show now, it seems like.
Yeah, those that can't wrestle.
KO has his. Miz has his. I mean, KO and Miz can wrestle.
They can wrestle when they're allowed to.
You just don't like the Miz.
Again, we have gone over this every fucking WWE episode. I like to hate the Miz. I will watch him. He's enjoyable to watch. He's not like Charlotte Flair. Well, I will scrub through that entire fucking match and be like, fuck you. I don't like you. The Miz is that perfect heel character where I am tuning in to see who is going to slap the ever-loving shit out of his mouth. And if he wins, I'm like, ooh, dirty bastard is fine. Where if Charlotte wins, after I scrub through the whole match, I'll go back to like the last 5 seconds, like, that stupid bitch doesn't even fucking win. Like, that's every time. And if she's like, if I can somehow go live and watch SummerSlam like I did Money in the Bank, and she's on that card and she wins, I'm telling you right now, that will be my exact reaction. It was that stupid fucker doesn't even win. And I won't be able to scrub through it. I may walk away from it occasionally, be like, she's on it. I don't give a shit. I'm out.
Yeah.
I don't hate The Miz. I like The Miz. But he's a heel, and I hate him naturally. I'm the mark for The Miz. I'm going,
I don't know if anything really comes out of this. I think it was more Cena goes out, riles up the crowd, dipshit comes out, talks about Australia, and then Cena just does his thing. I think it was just a high point for him, and that was it.
I'm hoping that was it, but we shall see.
Because, I mean, regardless, John Cena is one that knows how to work a crowd, can rile him up, and why not have him there? Because who else are you going to have try and do that now?
That was also another person, like, was not speculated, was not rumored.
Yeah.
Like, that was a good pop. So.
And that's what they were looking for, and they got it, and it helped feed to it. So, yeah. I don't know. I don't see anything coming out of it. I see Cena still being vacant, not around.
We'll see, because he did say, granted this was for a Theories match, he did say earlier this year, right around WrestleMania, that he is supposed to be around WWE a lot more and be more present. So
it could.
I mean, that could have all changed after Theory's match, where he then a week or two later was interviewing. He's like, I don't like, it's taking such a toll on my body. I don't know if I can wrestle anymore. So he can do spots, he can do bumps. So we'll see.
He didn't go as far as saying what Booker T said, but Booker said, "No, I'm done, bro. That's it. That does spin Rooney about killed me. I'm done."
I don't think Cena will ever get there. I think he'll know his limits before and just kind of fade. Not fade, but he'll do more promotions and pop-ups, and
So yeah.
he'll be one of those, like, he can take a bump and that's it, but he's not going to be able to wrestle a whole match. He's gonna have to take just one bump and get the upper hand. So, but I did when Cena came out, I know, like, everybody in chat, I think we had like 14 or 15 people talking at once, popping ideas, and there was one of the most, like, I don't know why I never thought about it, with the rumor that Orton's coming back. Like, we know he's coming back, we just don't know when. Mm-hmm. But when Cena came out, somebody's like, oh, please God, let Randy come out and do a feud between Randy and Cena. Just have Randy attack Cena. Perfect. They have a long history. And then somebody else is like, well, why not do that, but then also have, like, Edge come in and then kill off the Attitude Era with Cena, Edge, and Orton kind of having their last match, so to speak, collectively together, and poof, Attitude Era is 100% gone because there's nobody else left from the Attitude Era after that.
Yeah, but I mean, look,
they put it more elegantly. I don't remember exactly what it said, but
out of those three in a triple threat match, Orton has to walk away from that because Orton still has somewhat of a career left over
they
Cena and Edge.
They could do like they did with Triple H, Undertaker, and Shawn Michaels, where, I mean, granted, Shawn Michaels is a special guest referee, but they could do it where just one of them wins, doesn't matter really who, they all just kind of walk off upstage, raise their hands, wave, whatever, and they walk off into the sunset. I mean, there's definitely a ton of angles they could do with that. But if Randy Orton did come out ahead, which he should, he could be positioned as a legend killer again and finish off his career the way he started, where he could take out Edge and then go after John Cena. Both of these guys have historical runs against Randy Orton, so it'd make logical sense for him to kill the legends and let them retire officially. And when Cena retires, and hell, even when Orton retires, guaranteed Hall of Fame. Like, that next Hall of Fame that comes up after it, it's not going to be like Dave Bautista had to wait years and years. It will be, if Cena retires December, Cena has Hall of Fame, and he'll be the headliner for March or April, whenever it is. So
yeah,
we had a lot of speculations that were fun for that. But
yeah, there's definitely some things left that need to be buttoned up, but it's hard to tell when they will happen.
Yep. But speaking of buttoning up, the Bloodline. I'm going to start off by saying I've read so many fucking articles this week since Money in the Bank, and it does not favor Bloodline at all. Well, let's get into it. This is the final match we'll talk about. I'll talk about the articles that kind of impacts all of this. So it was the Bloodline Civil War, which, goddamn, this match took forever to start. But you had Jimmy J. Uso versus Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. Whatever. You had those four. I know I'm saying it right, but it doesn't sound right. It's pissing me. Sikoa. No, that sounds wrong too. Anyways, so you had these four, and as we stated on last week's episode, specifically by you said Roman Reigns and Solo will win. They will. I said no. Usos will win because they literally defected, and they're on this high. WWE's not just gonna strip them off the high. That's stupid. Doesn't make any logical sense. Roman Reigns still gonna fuck you. I was right. And they made Roman Reigns look like a little bitch afterwards with him crying and throwing a fit. But this match literally took 5 minutes to start. Yes, from start of the bell to the actual action, and not just.
I think they're ahead a little bit on time, so they had to kind of milk it.
They were behind. The fucking match, the whole show was supposed to end at midnight UK time, and it went well over that. It was a 4.5 hour show.
It was 4.5 hours, wasn't it? That's right.
It was supposed to end at 4 hours. But granted, This match didn't even start until 3 hours and 45 minutes into it. Because I was keeping track of it. I was like, okay, that's fine. I'll watch this, and this should be over no later in like the next 15, 20 minutes. And I was like, 5 minutes into it, there's kind of hand boxing each other. It's like, it's gonna be a long match.
Mhm.
Great, great, great. But it was a good match. It was a very interesting match. I'm gonna go on the head and say I would not quote it as match of the night though,
No.
which is sad or upsetting because the Bloodlines. I feel like every time they've had a match, it's kind of been top tier matches. This felt a little lackluster, um, but it's still a great match. But it does feed into all these articles I was reading this week about how, um, quote, higher ups, so I'm going to assume Vince McMahon, higher ups have stated that the Bloodline story needs to end soon because it has drawn out too long. So there's a good chance that we won't see Roman Reigns versus Jimmy, Roman versus Jay, Roman versus Solo. We won't see all those matches play out and then see them all individually leave. But instead, we saw the Usos leave 2 weeks ago and have their match on Saturday. And now we're going to see possibly Solo defect as of Friday when they do the high court for the tribal chief. But it's already, all these articles basically say the same thing, that Solo is going to face Roman Reigns at SummerSlam.
Doesn't make any sense.
But
there
they're
is
rushing the story.
rumors that Rikishi comes to be high counsel
Yep.
for the tribal court or whatever. But Rikishi's been teased. I don't know how many damn weeks in a row.
3 months.
Now, if he comes, cool. If not, I'm not gonna be shocked.
He's also been rumored to be the manager of the Usos, which is supposed to be how they pull Solo away, is him being the manager and be like, hey, come back home to your actual family, not to your piss aunt of a cousin.
I want Solo to, if that's the case, then I want Solo to just Samoa spike all three of them and walk away on his own.
He needs to walk away.
I don't need you guys. I don't need him. I'm a one man show and that's it. Do my thing.
What's so interesting?
Fuck you, Dad.
Is like, what's so interesting about this this story though is longevity wise, Jay and Jimmy could very well be respective main eventers with no issues. Solo in a couple years could definitely, I mean, I think he could be a main eventer right now, but he definitely needs to work on his mic skill, so he's not quite there.
I think he's better than what a lot of people think on the mic.
Oh yeah,
I've heard him on the mic before when he was in
NXT,
Indy, and he was way better in Indy as well. He looked just like Jay and Jimmy at the time, but
I mean,
he did very well,
and he was good on the indie circuits too. Like, I'm not arguing that, but like, I don't think he's up there with, like, he doesn't have the same mic skill as Roman Reigns or Seth Rollins. He doesn't have that pop and that draw.
I wouldn't put Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins on the same when it comes to mic skills at all. Roman sucks on the mic. Roman is all forced. All his shit is it's corny. It's corny.
It's very heel character of,
it's
I'm going
predictable
to
and corny.
Well, so is everything else he fucking does. Same with Dominic Mysterio and The Miz.
I'm talking about Roman. Roman shit is corny on the.
He's still decent on the mic, whether it's forced, it comes off in his gimmick properly. Whereas 5 years ago, 6 years ago, even when he was a big dog, it came across shittily. I think Rollins is the best, like, active roster. The best one on the mic, other than maybe The Miz. I would give Miz props because he is good on the mic. I like Rollins better. I also don't like The Miz because he's... Anyways. We've addressed that already. We're not going to beat that dead horse. But Solo's not on that same level as either one of those two. So I think he's going to be a build-up. And longevity-wise, he will be the future Inoa family that stays. But in order for Jimmy and Jay to get spotlight, they're going to have to not only break up the Usos, but split them brand-wise. One of them will have to be on Raw. One of them will have to be on SmackDown. so where they can respectively have solo careers, singles careers. You can't have them both on the same show without going after a feud. And if they're on separate feud or separate brands, they could do a feud between the two of them, as long as they're not unifying the title again. But they could do a feud against them.
Yeah, but at what point? I don't know when that's going to happen between Jimmy and Jay to where they start to go solo. They will. I mean, they've said in interviews they want that's their end all be all dream is WrestleMania against them, and to go back to growing up as those two against each other, and Dad being Rikishi being the referee type shit. So that whole full circle type thing, but
which could be sooner or later.
Could be, but
loser leaves brand.
I think it's too. That's too quick.
I mean,
they've got some years left in them.
Yeah.
Jay is starting to look older than Jimmy. I don't know what the hell's happening with Jay, but Jay looks like he's aging very fast, and it's very odd. But it looks like he has 4 to 5 years on Jimmy.
I was gonna put closer to 10, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's like he's got the grays starting to show up, and it just be his lifestyle. I don't know what the hell's going on, but
I was waiting for you to say genetics. I'm like, twins.
Nope, it's lifestyle. But there's something there between that, but I don't think it's time for them to have the feud yet. They have a lot of building up to do still. Jimmy has a little more to do too. He's ready. Jay is ready. Solo's ready for solo.
Jay's been ready for years.
I wouldn't say years.
Since he went.
If it wasn't for Bloodline, he wouldn't be ready. It's helped him.
With the feud that he had with Reigns, it was very evident that he is a main eventer and he was ready. Granted, Bloodline just prepared him even more for it, but he could have won against Roman Reigns, stripped him of the title, and been good. This has just made him better. That's all. He was ready then. He's guaranteed now.
Yes.
Because he has the entire push behind him. Which I think he still had COVID too, so.
But I think if they did, Solo walks off on his own, does his own thing, he could be fine. Jimmy and Jay could split and they could be fine. Solo to me reminds me of Samoa Joe and Taz, like combined.
Yeah.
The way they are. I mean, just because he has a Samoa Joe style body almost.
He's skinnier than Joe.
He is skinnier than Joe, but also he just reminds me of Taz.
Yeah.
As well. Outside of the whole towel thing.
I would love for Solo came out with the towel.
I was gonna say outside of the towel thing.
Okay.
Because that's what Taz did. Yeah.
Gotcha. They should do that on Friday though. Is have them all go to court and Solo kind of comes out and just spikes everybody. All 4 of them at the time. Usos, Reigns,
hit Heyman too. That or he could take Heyman.
Yeah,
he could take Heyman with him.
No, listen, he should take Heyman and go to Raw and basically be like, I'm no longer affiliated with SmackDown. I'm no longer affiliated with Bloodline. Make some whatever stupid ass trade they need to legitimize it, but have him go over there and have him dethrone Gunther.
Good. Because, Jimmy and Jay already looked at Solo and said that they think he should be tribal chief or whatever.
Yep, but let him just go do his own independent run, a whole different brand where he's not affiliated with them anymore, and then, do his own thing.
Yeah. So hopefully something happens, but we'll see. SummerSlam's coming up soon.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. The current rumor is Reigns will take on Solo. That's the current speculation that's backed by everything, apparently. But we'll figure that out more here in 4 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time, whenever it is. So, who cares? It's fine. But overall, this was not a bad pay-per-view. It was...
No, this is the better one they've had in a while.
Yep. I will say the money... Thankfully, the namesake matches, so the men's and women's Money in the Bank, definitely carried this show a lot, and Seth Rollins carried it too. Because really, there's yes, Dominic versus Cody was a good match. Didn't carry it. Gunther, fucking Gunther.
What was your match of the night?
Oh, see, mine's tossed up between the men's and women's.
I have it
Um,
as women's.
that's kind of where I was leaning more towards too, was women's, but I could give it to the men's easily too. Women's just again, it hit different, and maybe it's just because we've seen men's Money in the Bank matches for decade plus now. Women's is still relatively new. But I think they had better spots, better high moments, better ladder crashes, and it didn't feel like spots were missed. I feel like everything was very calculated. Whereas you had Logan Paul in the men's, who is not as experienced in the ring, so certain spots looked weird. And then you had the ladders, fucking ladders. Don't buy from that supplier again.
What do you have for worst?
Gunther.
I have the women's tag as worst.
Nope. Just because literally this is the only thing that differentiated for me was the betrayal. I was more shocked and awed in the women's tag than I was of Drew McIntyre coming back. Because again, we talked about in the previous episode that Drew or Randy was going to return, likely Drew because it's in London. So I knew that was coming. I was like, all right, it's just a matter of like when. I did not anticipate, did not see any rumors or speculations, nothing about Shayna turning on Ronda, even though I knew for better part of 3 years now that it was going to happen. Just no one knew when. And Ronda's been hurt, so yeah, it's been like a shit show for the past 18 months. So it's just one of those like, oh, okay. And when it happened, it was like, oh my God.
Yeah, I mean,
that
I get it.
That held more for me than Gunther.
There was nothing in the women's match. That's why I put it worst.
Either one of them, honestly, they're not far off from each other.
No.
So I could go either way, but I would position Gunther and Riddle because again, Gunther did his 6 moves and come out, and now he's acting like a scared little dog against McIntyre, which is just not. Again, rinse and repeat. Dominic is a scared little bitch right now, and I think this could hurt. This will hurt Gunther if he keeps avoiding McIntyre. This, at least for me, does nothing but hurt the image and reputation of Gunther for him not to stand up toe to toe with McIntyre and start just duking out virtually every encounter they can, them jumping each other. Just not him instantly getting out of the ring when Drew comes, scurrying along, running. Like it's different when a big dude like Gunther, who is positioned to be a powerhouse and dominant force, does it versus when a scared little bitch like Dominic does it. And we know because that's what he's been running with for the better part of almost a year now. Of just, this is who he is. This is his tactic. Rhea does all his work for him.
That's the persona that he has.
Yeah, but you can't have 2 of them on the same brand. You can't have a beefy brick shit house or one of the brick shit house Gunther playing the little bitch card. Like you can't do it, and that alone just is so. I'm over that gimmick. If it's not evidentially clear, I am over that stupid fucking gimmick. If you're gonna be a bitch, fine, 1 per brand.
You're limited. Keep it down to 1.
Because
one bitch per one.
Well, all these heels, and I get it. That's what heels do. But all the heels have literally the exact same layout of gimmicks. Dominic can't win unless he gets interference. Gunther, yes, he's able to stand by himself, but all his wins on Raw have been interference. He has not won them cleanly. Roman Reigns can't retain his title unless someone interferes. It is so goddamn overused and repetitive that all your heels play the bitch card, and they're not dominant forces. They're not to be messed with. They're toys and puppets at this point where it's just like, oh, all right, let's see when he chickens out. Is it going to be 5 minutes into the match or is it going to be 10? Who's going to interfere? Is it going to be one of these Imperium dipshits or is it going to be Solo or is it going to be Mommy? Like, it's so overplayed and it's oversaturated on WWE at this point. It's not entertaining to watch a heel character anymore because majority of the time that's the route they're going to go versus a dominant force like Bobby Lashley, where he could just beat the ever loving shit out of people. And you're like, all right, badass
But
coming
the heel,
in. Yes, he
the
got
heel
it.
characters are few and far between like they used to be. They don't have a lot of them don't have the mic skills anymore. They don't have the ability to cut promos in a
There
way
are
that
so many fucking heel characters.
there very well could be, but the ones that are in the main light of Roman, Gunther, even Dominic at this point, Damian Priest. I mean, they're not the best on the mic. If it's not for Damian cutting a promo in Spanish, it doesn't work very well for him.
Nope.
And from
Dominic
what I've been
can't even
told,
fucking-
his he can't get shit out because the crowd won't let him, which I think they're piping that in. But Damian, and I've been told that his promos are good in Spanish.
Yeah.
But I don't, I obviously don't know what he's saying. I'm being told by others that it sounds good.
Go get your wife. Hey,
But
does it sound good?
I can't because she has no idea what she's watching. She's like, "What's he saying this for?" She's questioning everything. I'm like, "What do you like? I need to know what you're saying before I can tell you." Like, what do you mean? I don't know.
Translate. I will fill you in later.
Oh no, and I get that. Well, you should know by now. It's been this long. You should know how to speak Spanish and understand it. I obviously don't. Babel has failed me.
Okay.
So it's just not how it used to be and again, we can go back to Attitude Era, all that stuff of where heels were on the mic. Heels were the favored persona when it came to all that. Like everybody loved the heel character, and if you were a babyface, you weren't really liked that much. It was the era of the heel.
But again, and if it worked back then, and we have to switch up, and your baby faces are finally good on the mic, which majority of the baby faces are really good on the mic, then flip the script. Flip the script. It's fine. Let your baby face be predominantly showed. It's okay.
You can't flip the script if somebody's foot's on it.
Yeah, fucking Vince, go get in the damn graveyard. You wrinkly old fuck. But I don't know. It's just I'm done with that whole persona. Like I'm done with it. It's not. I will gladly take heel Miz over any other heel character because at least Miz is good on the mic. He's decent in the ring. He can put on a show. He's great at selling. It's fine, and he can go from being good in ring where he wins cleanly. He can win by himself, maybe a little dirty tactics. That's fine. He doesn't need somebody to come in and winning every fucking goddamn match.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to always run away. That's his whole, he can go through the whole cycle. Roman Reigns, majority of his matches, somebody interferes. Gunther runs away from his competitors. He doesn't want to compete them until the match, until it's his time. Cool, we get my time or no time. We're going to do this on my time. Fuck off.
Yeah.
And then Dominic Priest has gotten a lot better. Just from his original debut on main roster to now, his mic skill has improved exponentially. His in-ring has improved exponentially. He is better. He still has a lot of work to go. But then you have the heel characters like Finn, who's, in my opinion, he's okay on the mic. I'm not a big fan of his mic skills because it doesn't.
He's a crybaby.
Well, even before the crybaby, it's hard to take him serious.
Mm-hmm.
I think Finn's a better babyface with the split personality of the Demon being the heel character type gimmick for him. Him as a heel just doesn't it doesn't resonate with me. I'm like, this feels very push. This feels very orchestrated. It's not. Yeah, it's just not great. But then Dolph Ziggler's another underutilized heel, great in ring, and he doesn't need other people. But Damian can wrestle by himself. He needs work. Mm-hmm. Roman Reigns should be able to fucking wrestle. I've said this numerous times about him. The fact that he cannot win a match without Paul Heyman's help, Solo's help, the Usos' help. He can't win a match. And we have this dominant force, this tribal chief, this god mode, who can't fucking even do it himself. I'm so over all of it. You want to talk about a mark? You are missing the mark. You are advertising the world and you're giving shit. Shit. I think that's also why everything's starting to come out and why they're going to rush the Bloodline finish, and it will be over before WrestleMania, where he will be solo by himself. Roman Reigns will be solo, single by himself, not his whatever. Fucking stupid name. Who let there be a solo in this fucking company? But I don't know. It doesn't compute for me, I guess. I prefer watching a baby face, which is weird because I grew up loving the heel characters.
Mhm.
Now I'm like, baby faces are more entertaining to watch because at least they're going to win, or even if they lose, you're like, all right, you did a good job. You tried. That's fine.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns wins, you're like, oh, yeah, he cheated. That's fine. Not your gimmick. You're not Eddie Guerrero. You can't do the lie, cheat, steal shit. Dominic's trying, and it's not.
I think he'll get there.
Reigns or Dominic?
Dominic.
Oh, okay. I double
I
check.
think he will.
I had to double check. All right. Well, what did you think of the overall pay per view? You already heard my opinion.
Overall, it was better than the last few. I mean, better since WrestleMania. It's the best one since then.
Yeah.
Granted, only what, one or
Saudi payback, or sorry, backlash.
yeah. Outbreak. And
So April was WrestleMania, so then we had May and June, July. So we've had 3 pay-per-views, yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, it's the best one since Mania.
Yeah. So I think SummerSlam will be interesting. It has all the feuds lined up, all the story lines finally coming to fruition. It just seems who's going to be in control, Vince or Triple H, and how the story goes, and whether or not Bloodline is dissolved.
Yeah.
Which there was an interesting article that said Solo will face Roman at SummerSlam, and Paul Heyman will run away because he'll be threatened by Solo, and Roman won't see Paul Heyman being threatened because he will have been knocked out, spiked, whatever.
Yeah.
And he's going to wake up to Paul Heyman running away up the ramp with Solo in ring, making Roman think Paul has left him, which would be a perfect turn for him to split over to either the Usos or, well, not the Usos, they don't like him right now.
Yeah.
Solo, and let Solo have a manager, which he could use one if they're not going to let him talk on the mic.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So work.
Yeah, we'll see. See y'all back in 4 to 6 weeks or 8 weeks. 4 to 5 weeks. Why do they keep going up from 6? Goddamn. But yeah. All I got for you beautiful people. Here's the thumb. Rahgel.
The thumb? The fuck does that even
Because you're
mean?
bald.
The thumb. You're such an idiot. Whatever. Decent pay-per-view. Yep, we got SummerSlam coming up, so it should be fun.
We have something exciting coming up?
I don't know. Maybe we do. I don't know. Who knows?
Say two.
Till then, though. Bye, bitch.